Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shamataji and Vatsala Mataji, for joining in. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today reciters are Vatsala Mataji will be reciting in Sanskrit and Usha Mataji will be reciting in English from Canto 3, Chapter 30, verses 18 to 34. So, Vatsala Mataji, whenever you're ready, can you please start with invocation 3 times? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna. Text 18. Evam kutumba bharane vyapritatma jitendriyaha Mriyate vrutatam swanam uruvedana yashtatihi.
Hare Krishna. Thus the man who engages with uncontrolled senses in maintaining a family dies in a great grief, seeing his relative crying. He dies most pathetically in great pain and without consciousness.
Text 19. Yamaduto tada prapto bhimo sarabhasekshano sadrishtva trashta hridayaha shakrinutram vimunchati.
At that, he sees the messenger of the Lord of Death come before him. Their eyes are full of wrath, and in the great fear he passes stool and urine.
Text 20. Yathana deha avritya vashaibatva gale balat nayato dikam atvanam tantyam rajapatayata.
As a criminal is arrested for punishment by the constable of the state, a person engaged in criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamdutas, who bind him by the neck with strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may undergo severe punishment.
Text 21. Mataji, can you scroll up a bit, please?
Hare Krishna, Shiji Kishori Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Text 21. Tayor nilpinna hridayash Tarjane jata vipattuhu Pratishvabir vakshyamana Aptogam swam anushmaram.
While carried by the constable of Yamraja, he is overwhelmed and tremble in their hands. While passing on the road, he is beaten by dogs, and he can remember the sinful activities of his life. He is thus terribly distressed.
Text 22. Shrutrit parito riga davanalalilayhi santyapyamana patitapta valike Rikshvena praste kashaya shataditash shalatya shakto vinirashramotake.
Under the scorching sun, the criminal has to pass through roads of the hot sand with forest fire on both sides. He is whipped on the back by the constable because of his inability to walk, and he is afflicted by hunger and thirst. But unfortunately, there is no drinking water, no shelter, and no place for the rest on the road.
Text 23. Tatra tatra tathan shranto muchitta punar uttitaha tata papiyasa nitas tarasayama sadhanam.
While passing on that road on the abode of Yamraj, he falls down in fatigue and sometimes he becomes unconscious, but he is forced to rise again. In this way, he is very quickly brought to the presence of Yamraj.
Text 24. योजनानां सहस्राणि नवतिं नवशात्मनः त्रिभिर्मुहूर्ते द्वाभ्यां वा नीता प्राप्नोति यातनाः.
Thus, he has to pass 99,000 yojans within 2 or 3 moments, and then he is at once engaged in the torturous punishment which is destined to suffer.
Text 25. Adipanam swagatranam veshtayitvol Mukandibihi atmama sadhanam vapi swakritam paratopiva.
He is placed in the midst of burning pieces of wood, and his limbs are set on fire. In some cases, he is made to eat his own flesh or have it eaten by others.
Text 26. Thank you. Jivatashchandra Prabhiyuttavaha Swagritrayama Sadhane Saparikshikadam Sadhye Dashabhishatma Vaishtasam.
His entrails are pulled out by the horns and vultures of hell, even though he is still allowed to see it, and he is subjected to torment by serpents, scorpions, gnats, and other creatures that bite him.
Text 27. Kuntanam Shavaya Vasho Gajadibhyo Bidapanam Patanam Girishringebhyo Rodhanam Shambhagattayoho.
Next, his limbs are lopped off and torn asunder by elephant. He is hurled down from the hilltops, and he is also held captive either in water or in a cave.
Text 28. Yashtam Mishranta Mishra Ragavadyascha Jatanaha पुङ्क्ते नरो वा नारी वा मिथक्शङ्केन निर्मिताः.
Men and women whose lives are built upon indulgence in illicit sex life and put into many kinds of miserable condition in the hellish known as Timishra, Anda Tamishra, and Raurava.
Text 29. अत्रैव नरकाक्ष्वर्ग इति माता प्रचक्षते या यातना वै नारक्ष्यष्टा हि पाप्यप्युपलक्षिताः.
Lord Kapil continued, My dear mother, it is sometimes said that we experience hell or heaven on this planet. For hellish punishments are sometimes visible on this planet also.
Text 30. Evam kutumpam pikrunana udaram dara eva va vishjeho payam pretya bhunte tat phalam idrisham.
After leaving this body, the man who maintains himself and his family members by sinful activities suffer a hellish life, and his relatives suffers also.
Text 31. Eka pratajyate dvantam hitvedam svakalevaram kushaletara pateyo bhutadrohena yakrutam.
He goes alone to the darkest region of the hell after quitting the present body, and the money he acquired by envious other living entities in the passage money with which he leaves this world.
Text 32. Daivena saditam tasya shamalam niraye puman punkte kutumba posasya kritavidda ivaturaha.
Thus, by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maintainer of kinsmen is put into a hellish condition to suffer for his sinful activities, like a man who has lost his wealth.
Text 33. Kevalena hyadharmena kutumba paranno tushukha yati jivo natastamishram sharamam tamasappadam.
Therefore, a person who is very eager to maintain his family and kinsmen simply by black methods certainly goes to the darkest region of hell, which is known as a Anda Tamishra.
Text 34. Adashtanaralokasya yavati yatanadayah pramashaksamanukramya punar atra vrajekshushihi.
Having gone through all the miseries, hellish conditions, and having passed in a regular order through the lowest form of animal life prior to human birth, and having thus been purged of his sins, one is reborn again as a human being on this earth.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please forgive if I made any mistakes.
Thank you, Usha Mataji and Vatsala Mataji, for the very nice recitation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for very beautiful recitations. And thank you all dear devotees for kindly joining this evening and giving the opportunity to speak few words on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, before we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam, we shall offer all our prayers, Mangalachan prayers to our Acharyas, Gurus, Vaishnavas, Radha Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and everyone. Oh. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशम् हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृणुतं सकताः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्तो ह्य भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी एते चां सकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्राणि व्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकस्थन्यं स्वस्तये नमः कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रामेषा पुराणार्को अधुनोदितः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजङ्ग्रये अतिविश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्तिदृढं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयि मेनन्यविषयमतिर्मधुपतया सकृत् रतिमुद्वाहतद्ध गङ्गेव श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सकरुष्ण शुभावनिध्रुग्राजन्यवंशदहनानापवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्यहरावतार योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न अपुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य मत्यानं किमुताशुषः पुनश्च भूयाद् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गाश्च तदाश्रयेषु महस्तु यामुप्यां सृष्टिं मैत्रसु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरद्विषे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरेन्नानमतग्राहव्याप्तं सिद्धान्तसागरम् श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रियविरितः सङ्गृह्णाति आकर्वातात् अज्ञः सिद्धान्तसन्मनीन् ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू फॉर काइंडली वेटिंग Okay, I shall share my screen. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam. It is third canto, chapter 30. It is the adverse fruitative activities of a living entity. Okay, so just in this chapter, how the living entity enter into the karma bandhana. So Srimad Bhagavatam. So every living entity, it will get some kind of knowledge of how to utilize its senses and then different body parts, and then it will be entangled here. I know this one, I can do this one, like that. Living entity will start doing, and then it will be entombed, and then it will bodily concept of life. It would develop absorption. So this is कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियाश्रयाः बध्नन्ति निश्चिदामुक्तं मायिनं पुरुषं गुणाः बध्नन्ति निश्चिदामुक्तं मायिनं पुरुषं गुणाः. It is living entity, though it is not belong to this material world, it belongs to the spiritual world. But here it come to this material world and entrapped entrapped into these three material modes of nature with a few fruitative activities. So here in this chapter, Kapila Bhagavan describing how this living entity, step by step, in the past, until last session, it was covered 21 shlokas. So just giving a little bit of the pictures, how the living entity, the person here, the old man, who is like a he earns the livelihood for the family sake. And then whenever it comes to the age, like after 50 years, when he cannot work properly, then kutumba bharana kalpa manda bhagyo rutodhyamaha ksirya vihinaha kurpanodhyayan swasiti modadhehi. So, and evam swaparna kalpam tat kaladristada nadriyente yatha purvam kinasha iva gojaraha. Just like the wild bulls cannot be treated properly. Likewise, because they cannot be plowing the land. In the similar way, a man, when he cannot work anymore, then family members, either wife and children, they do not take care of him properly. So, nadriyente yatha purvam, like before. So that this picture gives. And then further another one, so previously he used to feed all the children and everyone, but now because he is became old man, now they started feeding to this old man. Tatrapi jata nirvedu brihmanaha swayambhrutaihi, by his own family members. Jaraya upata vairupyo maranavi mukogrihe. Now he is ready to enter into the clutches of death. So that is the preparation. After he retires from all his work, he is now preparing himself to enter into the clutches of death. So during that time, before he dies, asti avamatyo apanistu upanyastam gruhapala ivaharan. So in the next picture here, just like a dog in the home, gruhapala ivaharan, and Amayavi apritidabniki alpaharo alpochestitaha. He cannot eat proper food because he cannot digest properly. Amayavi apradipagnihi. So because the jatragni does not properly digest. And alpaharo alpachestitaha. He cannot do much work, he cannot eat enough. So that is this picture, and then further it is this another picture is of shloka for the 16. So during that time, he cannot even properly sleep, and he does not allow others to sleep properly. Vayuna utkrama uttaraha kapa samruddha nadikaha kasa swasa krutayasaha kante ghurghurayate. When people sleep, they will make lots of noises. That is the time of this old age. Kante ghurghurayate. They make the sound ghurghura sound. And because of the kappa kasa swasa pratayasa kappa samruddha nadikaha, the throat will be it is buried with so much of phlegm, like that. And then he is lying on the bed. So at the time, he cannot even properly speak as well, because all of his senses are no more energetic, and tongue cannot twist to speak few words. And even the family members are surrounding him. Sayanaha parisochatbihi paribitaha subhundibihi, surrounded by family members. Then even he wanted to speak something. Vachyamanopi nabrute kalapashe vasham gataha, because he has already been in the clutches of the time factor. Kala pasha vasham gataha. Now he cannot do anything. As long as he has good energy, he was working only for family and everything else. Now his body is no more cooperating to himself as well. Even to say Hare Krishna also, he cannot do it. Tongue cannot be twisted. He did not practice so far. Vachyamanopi nabrute kala pasha vasham gataha. And then in the further, it is describing here the 18th chapter, 18th, next shloka, 18th shloka. There, evam kutamba bharane vyaprutatma ajitendriyaha, mrite ruditam swan guruvedana yastadehi. So while he cries with so much, he cries and laments when he was leaving that all his family members, he cannot speak anything properly. So at that point of time, he leaves his body with so much of lamentation. Okay, that is mrite ruditam, mrite, dying ruditam, with so much of pain, ruditam, or lamenting. Swanam guruvedana yastadhehi, that is the condition of this living entity. So whenever he leaves, now coming into what happens at that point of time, and then everyone are praying, and then so Yamadotas, Yamadoto tada prapto bhimo sarabhasaikshanau, and they are very fearful. Yamadotas are coming here, and then bhimo sarabhasaikshanau sadruštva trasta hrudayaha chakrut mutra vimunchati, and by looking at them he gets very fearful, trasta hrudayaha, and then he passes stool and urine by with the fearfulness. And then what they will do, they will this Yamadhutas, they will cover his subtle body with the Yamapashas. So Yatna Deha Avritya Pasir Bhadva Gale Bhalat, Pasir Bhadva Gale Bhalat, Naino Dirga Madhvanam Danjam Raja Bhatayatha. And then so they will take him for punishments and covering him with the this Pasir Bhadva, Pasaihi. This is the threads, the ropes, and then his body is covered by avrutya, yatana deha avrutya. So yatana deha, in order to, so as the criminal is arrested for punishment by the constables of the state, a person engaged in the criminal sense gratification, he is similarly arrested by the Yamudra, who bind him by the neck with a strong rope and cover his subtle body. This is cover his subtle body and so that he may be undergo severe punishments. Okay, that is 20th shloka. And then further, whenever they were taking on the path to the Yama, so here this is Yamapuri. So where is Yamapuri? So this is the Yamapuri here, and they are just pulling him on the towards Yamapuri. So and then what is happening? So tayoha nirbhinna hridayaha tarjanaihi jata vepatuhu pati swabhihi bhakshimana atva aghum swam anusmaran. So whenever he was taken to that Yamapuri, during that time that swabhihi bhakshimana, the dogs will come and try to eat his body. And he is just fearful and trembling. Jata vepatuhu, his body is trembling and so much of pains and in the fearful condition he was taking, and these dogs are eating his body. And Arto Agham Swam Anusmaran. So Swam Anusmaran. So now he remembers all his sinful activities that he has performed. Swam Anusmaran. Arto Agham. He is now lamenting. Arthi. Okay, and then until this point we have covered. So here this is different activities. So every moment of life we have got Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna understood to teach the living entity understand the temporary nature of worldly life and take shelter in Sri Krishna. So this is again Krishna is always present at any point of life. So that is until last session. So today we are entering into the 22 and 22 to 27. So what happens when the Yamudutas are taking the living into the Yamapuri? What is happening? What is in between? That we would cover in the 22 shloka today. So there, even though he is hungry and thirsty, and he does not get water and food, and then his tongue is getting dry, and they are taking the ropes, and then Kashaya, they are beating him in the backside, and there is no even, they do not allow him to take rest as well. There is nothing else to give shelter for him. So likewise, he was taken. So that shloka 22 one. 22 shloka. It is very fearful condition when during the once he crosses after 60 years or 70 years, one must be prepared to cross all these things. But here for the devotees, because they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he does not take to that course of actions. He is surrendered soul to Krishna. Okay, so we shall move to the 22 shlokas here. Trut parito Trut parito arka dhavanala anilaihi santapyamanaha paritaptavaluke Prutrena prushte kashaya chataditaha chalati asaktopi nirashramodhake. Shut trut parito. Shut is the by hunger and hunger and thirst. Paritaha, afflicted by the hunger and thirst. Arka davanala anilaihi. Arka is sun and davanala forest fires anilaihi by the winds. Santapyamanaha patitapyavaluke, and he is being scorched in that forest fires and then sun and then anilaihi by the winds. Patihi on that road, on a road. Patitaptavaluke of hot sand. He has to walk on the hot sand. Krutrena prushte kashayati taditaha. Krutrena, and painfully within that painful situation, from the back, on his back, there with a whip, they beat him. Prushte kashayata taditaha. They will beat him with the whips. And Chalati Asektopi Nirashra Modake. And Chalati, then when he was moving, Ashaktaha, he is unable to move, but still they will beat him with the whip and then take him. Nirashra Modake, without shelter or water. Nirashrama, without shelter, or Udake, without water. That is the condition of living entity. A person who engages himself all the time in the fruitive activities without remembering Krishna. So that is Chalati Asikto Nirashra Modake. Very painful condition. A translation. Under the scorching sun, the criminal has to pass through roads of hot sand with the forest fires on both sides. He is whipped on the back by the constables because of his inability to walk, and he is afflicted by hunger and thirst. But unfortunately, there is no drinking water, no shelter, and no place for rest on the road. Okay, that is the path towards Yamapuri. And then what happened? There is no purport for this. We shall move to the next shloka 23. So here in the 23 shloka, what is 23 shloka there? Even though he is being fainted in between, but they will forcefully take him. And then in such a way, very quickly to the Yamapuri or to Yamadharmaraja. So its shloka goes like this. Tatra tatra patan shranto murchitaha punaruttitaha पतापापि यसा नीतः तरसा यमसाधनम्. Tatra tatra patan shranto. Even though he get shrantaha, he fatigued and patan falling here and there, falling and fatigued. Murchitaha, unconscious. Punaruttitaha, again he has to raise. Punaruttitaha, because they are pulling him. Otherwise, it will be more painful if he is dragged. Okay, so punaruttitaha and patapapyasanitaha. Patapapyasanitaha. And pata by the road, papiyasa, very inauspicious. Papiyasa nitaha, he was brought. Tarasa yamasadhanam. Tarasa very quickly to yamasadhanam, to the presence of Yamaraja. So tatra tatra patan shranto murchitaha punaruttitaha. Pata papiyasa nitaha tarasa yamasadhanam. While passing on that road to the abode of Yamaraja, he falls down in fatigue and sometimes he becomes unconscious. But he is forced to rise again. In this way, he is very quickly brought to the presence of Yamaraja. Okay, likewise they are taking him to Yamadharma. So here Yamapuri is here and they are pulling him, pulling him with the ropes. So many people are pulled like that. Okay, that is 23 shloka. There is no purport for this one. We shall move to the 24th shloka. So here Kapil Bhagavan describes how much distance is there. He has to walk on the path. Okay, so he says that 99,000 yojanas. 99,000 yojanas, and they will take him within the 2 or 3 muhurta times. One muhurta is of approximately 40 minutes, 40 to 48 minutes, and within 2 to 3 muhurtas means around nearly 2 to less than 3 hours, around 2 hours, something like that, 80 to 120 minutes, something like less than 2 hours, I think, approximately 2 hours. The 24th shloka. योजनानां सहस्राणि नवतिं नवचाध्वनः त्रिभिर्मुहूर्तैः द्वाभ्यां वा नीतः प्राप्नोति यातनाः. Yojananam sahasrani. So how many thousands of yojanas? Yojananam sahasrani, thousands. Navatim navachadvanaha, 99,000 from a distance from the earth, 99,000 yojanas. And how long, how much time it takes? Tribir muhurtaihi dvabhyam va. Either 3 muhurtas, tribir muhurtaihi or dvabhyam va, or the two muhurta times. Nitaha prapnoti yatanaha. And nitaha, they will take birth, prapnoti, and then prapnoti is received, he receives yatanaha, punishments. He receives punishments during the path. In this translation. So thus, he has to pass 99,000 yojanas within 2 or 3 moments. And then he is at once engaged in the torturous punishment which he is destined to suffer. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, can I request any devotee to read the purport, please?
Can I read it?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna. One yagna is calculated to be 8 miles, and he has to pass along a road which is therefore as much as 792,000 miles. Such a long distance is passed over within a few moments only. The subtle body is covered by the constables show that the living entity can pass such a long distance quickly and at the same time tolerate the suffering. This suffering, although material, is of such fine elements that material scientists cannot discover what the coverings are made of. To pass 792,000 miles within a few moments seems wonderful to the modern space travelers. They have so far traveled at a speed of 18,000 miles per hour. But here we see that a criminal passes 792,000 miles within a few seconds only, although the process is not spiritual but material. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here, let me just share one of this. So here, it comes from the Pitrulok, the hellish planets where they are. It comes as part of, we have got 14 planetary systems. Out of these 14 planetary systems, so in the middle there is a Meru mountain, the golden one, based on which all other planetary systems rotate around. So under that one, middle planet system is the Earth Bhumandala. And then under the Bhumandala, there are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. That's 7 bottom planetary systems. And then next one is there are 28 hellish planets. 28 hellish planets. They are above the Ananta Shesha and under the Patala Loka. They exist there. So here, let me share. What else here we could see that one. So hellish planets are here, it is described. One is the Tamishra, Andatamishra, Raurava, Maharaurava, Kumbhipaka, Kalasutra. Likewise, there are 28 hellish planets. So Paryavatana, something like that, Stolaprotha, Dandasukta, and Puyoda. So these are the examples of those hellish planets. So that is, but here whenever it comes, these hellish planets are under the Earth, under all the 14 planetary systems. So, but on top of the Ananta Shesha head. Of course, it is shown for approximately for understanding. And then Pitraloka is also a Pitraloka. There is a green one, which is Pitraloka, which is also within that area. Sometimes people may think Pitraloka may be in the upper planet systems. So from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective, it is nearer to those, that area itself. But it is not hellish planet, it is Pitraloka, where all 4 fathers will be there. Next, we shall back to the purport. So here Prabhupada is describing, it would be approximately 792,000 miles from the Earth. So there it will be gone by within 2 or 3 muhurtas. And then the body, the subtle body is covered by the constable so that living entity can pass such a long distance very quickly. Nowadays, they use the rockets and then keeping their bodies covered in a particular suit. In the similar way, when the Yamadutas are coming, they will also cover his body. Subtle body is covered by the Pasha. Their Yatana Deha Avrutya Pashir Badva Gale Bhalat. And it is covered by the Pasha, and then they will pull him very quickly. At the same time, tolerate the suffering. At the same time, tolerate the suffering. It is very difficult. That subtle, they take the subtle body. So here, the living entity, it has got the pure spirit soul, which is like a Vasudeva city. On top, due to the contamination through the mind, ego, and intelligence, that is mixed, where it is also called subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. And then on top of the subtle body, gross body is there. That is earth, water, fire, wind, and then sky. Bhumira nalo vayu khammanu buddhirevacha ahankariti me bhinna prakriti rastada. These 8 elements covering the subtle body. But by performance of devotional service, the gross body, it is our practical experience with our eyes. We have seen that here living entity would leave the gross body. The gross body will be burnt to the ashes or buried or thrown into the water. But subtle body, this is, it is, we cannot see that one, but that will also be digested by the process of devotional service. Jarayati yakosham nigirnam manuloyaka. Just like when we eat the food, it is digested by Jatragni in the tummy. In a similar way, the subtle body will be digested by the severe process of devotional service, rigorous devotional service. That Kapil Bhagavan describes that one. Yakosham jarya nigirnam anuloyaka. Okay, so that is kosham, the subtle body. So discovering all the material is of such fine elements that material scientists cannot discover what the coverings are made of. So to pass 792,000 miles within few moments seem wonderful to the modern space travelers. They have so far traveled at a speed of 18,000 miles per hour. But here we see that criminal passes 792,000 miles within few seconds only, although the process is not spiritual but material. These are all happening within the material world. Spiritual world means living entity has to cross this universe is covered by the 7 layers, earth, water, earth layer. It is not the earth what we are living. So the universe has got, we see only the sky at the moment. So further, the sky is also limited. Beyond that one, the universe coverings, the shells, universal shells, thereof, earth layer is there, and on top of that, water layer, fire layer, each layer on top of it is 10 times bigger than the lower layer. And comparing to those layers, earth is just like a tiny mustard seed. The layers are millions of times thicker than this earth what we live. So that is the universal covering. So they have to pass, once we pass that one, we enter into the Karana ocean, and then Brahma Jyoti, and then the spiritual planets. But within this universe, all these are 14 planetary systems. These are all material. Inclusive of hellish planets, even Brahma Loka is also within this material world only. So here, all this process, they are taking the living entity. It is a material process. It is not a spiritual. So that is from this purpose. So we shall move to the next shloka, 25th shloka. So here, whenever they are taking that much of distance, 99,000 yojanas period, so at that time, they will speak about all of his sinful activity and make him to eat his own flesh. Or if he is not eating, then other people will eat his own flesh. Okay, likewise, Kapil Bhagavan saying, Adipanam swagatranam veshtayitva ulmukadibihi atmamam sadhanam kwapi swakrittam paratopi va. Adipanam swagatranam, and Adipanam, setting on fire, and swagatranam, and of his own limbs. Adipanam swagatranam, veshtayitva, having been surrounded, Vulmukadibihi, by pieces of burning wood and so on. Burning wood and so on. Atma Mamsa Adanam, of his own flesh. Adanam, eating. Kwapi, sometimes. Swakrutam, done by himself. Paratah, Paratopiva, and by others as well, sometimes. Like either he eats or someone will eat his own body, his own flesh. At that time, they will speak his katha, whatever the sinful activities he has performed. Adipanam swagatranam veshtayitva ulmukadibihi atma mamsadanam kwapi swakrutam paratopiva. So he is placed in the midst of burning pieces of wood, and his limbs are set on fire. In some cases, he is made to eat his own flesh, or have it eaten by others. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada gives it. Can I request anyone to read the small purport, please?
May I please, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. From this verse through the next 3 verses, the description of punishment will be narrated. The first description is that the criminal has to eat his own flesh, burning with fire, or allow others like himself who are present there to eat. In the last Great War, people in concentration camps sometimes ate their own stool, so there is no wonder that in the Yamasadana, the abode of Yamaraj, one who had a very enjoyable life eating others' flesh has to eat his own flesh. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, in order to generate picture for this one, the technology would not allow. So here, our Srila Prabhupada disciples, they have made very beautiful picture here from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the book. So here it is given. So here, some people, they eat the flesh of other person. And while it is the 25th shloka. And the animals, they are just pulling the intestines from his body, leaving his other persons are being bitten by the snakes here, and then putting on fires here, and then this punishing all the living entities, sinful persons here. And elephants are just goading here the persons, splitting his body like that. Okay, that shloka comes like this. And here Prabhupada is giving an example. So these are all we can practically see in this world itself, of course, but bodies are different. But we think that they are sometimes a dog may be eating a small rat and then eating it like that. It goes through the pain. Jivo jivasya jivanam. But bodies are different. But here in the Kapil Bhagavan describes the living entities, they are punished in the Yamaloka, so they get a proper experience. If we wanted to join a particular company, they will ask for experience. In the similar way, all these living entities get the experience in the Yamaloka, and then they will be sent in this material world in a particular body, either cats or dogs in a suitable body. Sometimes most sinful, angry persons would get a body of a snake. We might have seen when the snake is about to die, and then ants and so many insects will come and eat that snake. There is a very nice shloka. Balavantura nakemi palvarito nigrahinchi palukatamela. Balavantaమైన సర్పము చలి చీమల చేతి చిక్కి చావదే సుమతి. So even though the snake is very powerful, sometimes it is bitten by small ants and it will die. But the snake, though it is powerful than the ants, but multiple ants will be eating it. So, but again, time decides. Time decides. So here, practically that likewise, its body is eaten by the ants in the similar way because it has to go through that experience. That experience is given in the Yamaloka. And then here in this Metilone, it does not feel, it has got already experience, it does not feel too much. Otherwise, it is impossible for that living entity. That one it is described in the later shloka. Okay, and again, Prabhupada is giving such kind of concentration camps. It has happened during the last Great War times. Okay. That is, we shall move to the next shloka, 26th one. So here, Kapil Bhagavan is describing while he is looking, when that person is looking, so his intestines are pulled by the dogs and the vultures, and then I think some of the bees, very like honey bees or another, what kind of bees they are, they will bite him. So all the scorpions and snakes would bite him. So that is, here it is described here. जीवतश्च अंतर अभ्युद्धारः स्वगृदैः यमसाधने सर्पवृश्चिकदं साध्यैः दशद्भिश्च आत्मवैशसम्. Jivatah, when he is alive, Jivatasya, antara of his entrails, Abhyudharaha, pulling out. So this one is coming from this one. So here, when he is watching here, these dogs, they're pulling his entrails here. And then Abhyudharaha, Swagrudraihi, by dogs, Swa is by dogs, and Grudraihi are vultures. Swagrudraihi, Yamasadhani, in the abode of Yamadharmaraja. Sarpa Vrishika Damsadjehi, Sarpa by serpents, Vrishika by scorpions, Damsha gnats, Adjehi, and so on, many of those living entities. Sarpa Vrishika Damsadjehi, Dasit Bishya, and they're biting. Dasit Bishya Atma Vaishasam, torment of himself. Atma Vaishasam, it is very painful for him. So, Jivatasya Antra Abhyudharaha Swagrudraihi Yamasadhani Sarpa Vrushika Damsadjaihi Dasit Bishya Atma Vaishasam. The translation: his entrails are pulled out by the hounds and vultures of hell, even though he is still alive to see it, and he is subjected to torment by serpents, scorpions, gnats, and other creatures that bite him. So this is a living entity. So whenever these are, one context is like when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by the Shringi, saying that in 7 days the Takshaka snake will bite him. So at the time, the mood of Parikshit Maharaj is that let the snake would bite me or a Brahmana would curse me, doesn't matter. Please sing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please speak Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't matter whatever curse that will come in the way. I do not care about it. So that is the mood of a devotee. Let us go on among these cruel things that we are studying. We just go on to the Parikshit Maharaj mood. Let us see one of the beautiful shlokas of it, how the mood of Parikshit Maharaj is. So here, next one. The next sloka, I think, possibly is. So here it says, so here it is, very beautiful shloka comes here. Tam mopayatam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi dhita chittamishe Dvijopasprushtaha kuhakaha takshakova Dharatvalam gayata Vishnu gadaha. So it is very beautiful how very nicely it says, let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. It's very beautiful. Dvijopasprushtaha kuhakaha takshakova Dashatvalam Gayata Vishnu Gadaha. You speak Vishnu Katha. That is the mood of a devotee. Whoever has practiced this Krishna consciousness since childhood, he would speak such kind of things to hear Vishnu God. He does not worry about anything else. Get back to our this Srimad Bhagavatam, that 30th chapter here. Now, while he is watching, everything is happening. So the vultures and dogs or hounds, they're pulling his entrails and then biting him in so many ways. Okay, that is happening to him. And then further, that is from the shloka. Move on to the 27th shloka here. And now further, here Kapil Bhagavan says, now his body is being cut to pieces and his body is gored by the elephants. And then he will be thrown out from the peaks of the mountains. And then he will be kept under the caves of the mountains, dark caves like that. Okay. 27th shloka. Kruntanam cha avayavasho gajadibhyo vidapanam patanam girishrungebhyo rodanam shambhagattayoho. Kruntanam cha avayavasho. So Kuntanam, cutting off his body limbs, limb by limb, cutting his body limbs. People we might see for different animals, the butchers, they cut the body of the animal into small pieces. Now, that such person will go through this process. Kruntanam chavayavasho, while he is watching, he has to witness that. Kruntanam chavayavasho, gajadibhyo vidapanam. And his body is torn by the elephants and so on. Gajadibhyo vidapanam. And patanam girisringebhyo. And he will be hurling down from the top of hills. Patanam girisringebhyo, from the tops of those mountains. And then rodanam cha ambhugattayoho, he will be thrown into the valleys or into very deep pits like that. Rodhanam cha, enclosing ambhugattayoho, in the water or in a cave. Ambhugattayoho. Okay, likewise, Kapil Bhagavan describing. Kruntanam cha avayavasho gajadibhyo vidapanam patanam girishrungebhyo rodhanam cha ambhugattayoho. Next, his limbs are lopped off and torn asunder by elephants. He is hurled down from hilltops, and he is also held captive either in water or in a cave. Okay, so just going back to that pictures here. These pictures, the 27th, so here his body, another picture of the 27th shloka, his body is pulled by the Sarpadhamshika Damshadhyaihi. He's bitten here. Again, they are taking, the elephants are here. And then further in the 28th shloka, 27th shloka. And then, so 25 and 26, because of the horrible nature of those two shlokas, technology did not produce their pictures, but we got another picture of the 25th shloka. Okay, this is how a living entity goes through different kinds of hellish conditions. Okay, that one, I stopped there. I request dear devotees for a discussion. If you have got any questions or you wanted to comment or reflect anything, kindly ask questions, kindly reflect, kindly comment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for that wonderful class, Prabhuji. It was quite sobering. Prabhuji, we discussed the text today, which I want to know, do they apply to everybody who has not taken shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, or does it apply to even those who are probably pious souls, who've done like pious activities or not committed any sins? Does this punishment, is it meted out to people like that, to souls like that after death?
So this is for the people who have never lived a pious life, who has never remembered Krishna. So there, Yamadharmaraja, in the Yamadharmaraja gives his instructions in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think the 6th canto. Let us go there. He will say, who and all eligible to come to the Yamadharmaraja's abode. Let me just take it down. Yamadharmaraja instructs his messengers. Okay, so here he says, when Yamudutas, this is during the pastime of Ajamila. So at that time, Vishnudutas come and Yamudutas come. Vishnudutas stop Yamudutas and then they speak speak about dharma, what is dharma, what is not dharma. And then though Vishnudutta says that because he has uttered holy names of the Lord, so now he would not go to the Yam Dharmaraja support anymore. So in order to understand that, you go to your master, Yam Dharmaraja, learn those things. There, Yam Dharmaraja says, it is very beautiful things. So by chanting, let us go through. Okay, can I request devotees to read this paragraph? Let us. I think some of the instructions. Okay, at least we will read the chapter summary. Okay, would you like to read the first paragraph, Mataji?
I don't mind reading.
Yes.
As related in this chapter, the Yamdutas approached Yamraja, who exhaustively explained Bhagavata Dharma, the religious principle of devotional service. Yamraja thus satisfied the Yamadutas, who had been very disappointed. Yamraja said, although Ashmila was calling for his son, he chanted the holy name of the Lord, Narayana, and simply by the glimpse of chanting the holy name, he immediately received the association of Lord Vishnu's order carriers who served him from the attempt to arrest him. This is quite all right. It is a fact that even a chronically sinful person who chants the holy name of the Lord, although not completely without offenses, does not take another material birth.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Can I request?
Hare Krishna.
Can I read Prabhuji, please?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Thank you. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, Ajamal had met 4 order carriers of Lord Vishnu. They were very beautiful and had quickly come to rescue him. Yamraj now described them. The Vishnu Dutas are all pure devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Person, in regard to the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation. Neither King Indra, Varuna, Shiva, Brahma, the 7 rishis, nor I myself can understand the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord, who is self-sufficient and beyond the reach of material senses. With material senses, no one can attain enlightenment about him. The Lord, the master of the illusionary energy, possesses transcendental qualities for the good fortune of everyone. And his devotees are also qualified in that way. The devotees concerned only with rescuing the fallen souls from this material world apparently take birth in different places in the material world just to save the conditioned souls. If one is somewhat interested in spiritual life, the devotees of the Lord protect him in many ways. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, another devotee, can I request to read next paragraph?
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yamraj continued, the essence of Sanatan Dharma or eternal religion is extremely confidential. No one but the Lord himself can deliver that conditional religious system to human society. It is by the mercy of the Lord that the transcendental system of religion can be understood by pure devotees, and specifically by the 12 Mahajana, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Janak, Bhisma, Bali, Sukdev Goswami, and me. Other learned scholars, headed by Jaimini, are almost always covered by the illusory energy, and therefore they are more or less attracted by the flowery language of the 3 Vedas, namely Rug, Yajur, and Sham, which are called Troyi. Instead of becoming pure devotees, people captivated by the flowery words of these 3 Vedas are interested in the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. They cannot understand the glories of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Intelligent persons, however, intelligent persons, however, taken to the devotional service of the Lord. When they chant the holy name of the Lord without offenses, they are no longer subject to my ruling. If by chance they commit some sinful act, they are protected by the holy name of the Lord, because that is where their interest lies. The four weapons of the Lord, especially the club, the Sudarshan Chakra, always protect the devotees. One who chants, hears, or remembers the holy name of the Lord without duplicity, or who prays or offers obeisances to the Lord, become perfect. Whereas even a learned person may be called to hell if he is bereft of devotional service. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mataji. So here, Yamadharmaraj says, devotees, they are no longer subject to my rulings. If by any chance they commit some sinful act, they are protected by the Lord, by the holy name of the Lord, because that is where their interest lies.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That last line, that just answers my question, actually. The Lord, he becomes perfect, whereas even a learned person may be called to hell if he's bereft of devotional service.
Yes.
So he may be committing, good acts, but if he's got no devotional service, no feeling. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
For that word, Brahma says, Akhni apta ardhakarna nisi nisayana nana manoradhya khinabhagni nidraha daiva hatadharachana rushyopi deva Yushmat prasanga vimuka iha samsaranti. If even the rishis, if they are not hearing Krishna Kathar Bhagavatam, they will fall into the iha samsaranti, Lord Brahma's prayers. So 3, 9, 10. So Srimad Bhagavatam 3, 9, 10. So even though he is rishis, if he is not hearing Krishna Katha, he will come to iha samsaranti. So
But
after
also,
them, yes, Mataji.
just that the Lord's name is so powerful with the story of Ajamila.
Yes.
He had committed so many sins, but at the end, he was not remembering Krishna. I was just remembering his name, Narayan, because he named his son. And just the name was so powerful that, he was saved from the hellish condition. So, yes, just the name is so powerful in itself.
Yes, Mataji, holy name. आपन्नः संसृजं घोरां यन्नाम विवसो घृणन् तत्र सज्ज विमुच्येत यद्धिवेमि स्वयं भयम्. Just that name, by hearing the name, the fear pacified, he will be feared. That is holy name of the Lord. Yannama vivaso ghranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And I have a further question with reference to text 24 and 26. There's this graphic description of entrails and limbs being torn off and pulled. Prabhuji, what kind of a body are we talking about? As in the material body is gone after death. Is this just the subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego? What is experiencing this condition, the hellish condition? And if they're experiencing this condition, then is that soul able to remember God at this time and think of Krishna at this time?
So it is yatana deha. Yatana is a body which is meant for only for suffering. This material world is also like dukkhalayam shashvatam. But here it is mixed of pains and pleasures. But here this is only for yatana deha. And if he remembers the names of the Lord, then he will be freed, because if he knows, if he has got that minimum sense. So this one, in the context of it, in the 28th shloka, 29th one here, Lord Kapila explains. Mataji, would you like to read this translation and purport, Mataji, please? Just it is perfectly suits in this context.
Lord Kapila continued, "My dear mother, it is sometimes said that we experience hell or heaven on this planet, for hellish punishments are sometimes visible on this planet also." Purport. Sometimes unbelievers do not accept the statements of scripture regarding hell. They disregard such authorized descriptions. Lord Kapila therefore confirms them by saying that these hellish conditions are also visible on this planet. It is not that they are only on the planet where Yamaraj lives. On the planet of Yamaraj, the sinful man is given the chance to practice living in hellish conditions, which he will have to endure in the next life. And then he's given a chance to take birth on another planet to continue his hellish life. For example, if a man is to be punished to remain in hell and eat stool and urine, then first of all, he practices such habits on the planet of Yamaraj. And then he's given a particular type of body, that of a hog, so that he can eat stool and think that he is enjoying life. It is stated previously that in any hellish condition, the conditioned soul thinks he is happy. Otherwise, it would not be possible for him to suffer hellish life. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So, any reflections, Mataji?
Yes, in that I understand that there are hellish conditions on the planet. I mean, each soul, depending on the quality of life they are having, some of them are going through hellish conditions, others are not. But I just wondered, because the chapter was discussing exactly what happens after death, what the soul goes through. And so I was trying to see what body is there, because there is no material body. Is there a subtle body that is experiencing this?
This is called Yatana. Yes, it is subtle body. It is Yatana Deha in the 20th shloka. It is described, it is Yatana Deha. So Yatana Deha Avrutya. This is punishment, his body here. His subtle body, so that he may undergo severe punishment.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other questions, dear devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you for a wonderful class. Just if devotees do sin in their life, can they intensify the bhakti to recuperate the sin?
So they are intense. Could you please repeat the question, Mataji?
So if devotees have done accidental sin in their life,
Yes.
and they know they've done sin, can they recuperate? Can they do intense bhakti to recuperate, to kind of balance the sin out?
Yes. So devotees in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says he gives assurance whoever all chanting the names of the Lord. Apichit dhuracharo bhajite mam ananya bhav sadhureva samantatyah samyak vyavihito hi saha. So here, would you like to read this one, Mataji, the translation?
In English?
Yes.
Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to consider saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
And here Prabhupada gives the insights, but here one should not take as a advantage of that one, but it is only accidental things. That one Prabhupada gives in this insight. It's a very long purport. So here, would you like to read this one, Mataji? Last paragraph, as well.
On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee's transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abdominal ways. The verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusionary energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusionary energy, there may be accident fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs. As previously explained, no one should ever take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he's not a high devotee.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So any reflections, Mataji?
Oh, no.
So here, Prabhupada describes here, one may be coming from any sinful background, and once he starts chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, engage in devotional service, all his sinful, one has to treat him as the devotee only, because he is situated in his determination, chanting, waking up early morning, following rules and regulations. But sometimes, occasionally, he may fall down, but still, he needs to be treated as a saintly person only. This is sadhureva samantavyaha. Just sadhureva samantavyaha. He needs to be treated because he is situated, because he does not live. In case some occasional fall downs, as Prabhupada is mentioning, accidental occasional fall downs, then Lord will protect him. If he is purposefully committing sinful activity, then again Lord will do deho pidevashitaha kalu karma yavat swarambakam pratsamikshita eva sasuhu. Krishna will give sufficient punishment if he is being again in the Vaikuntha Loka. Lord says to four Kumaras, Yannamanacha Gruhnati Loko Bhutye Krutagasi. So asadhuvat tatkirtim Hantitvacham iva mayaha. Hantitvacham iva mayaha. On the skin, if there is a leprosy, it needs to be treated very quickly. Sometimes the limb may be removed. Likewise, whoever is taking the names of the Lord, Yannamanacha Gruhnati Loko Bhutya Krutagasi, thinking that they are the devotees, but their activity, so asadhuvad tatkirtim, asadu. They are not acting like a sadhu, but asadu. At the time, it is like he brings the bad name to the Lord. At the time Lord arranges, he will be removed from his position. Just like giving example, Jaya and Vijaya, though they are the door gods there and in the Vaikuntha without any miseries, because they have stopped Brahmanas. Before the Brahmanas, they have stopped even goddess of fortune, entering into the palace of the Lord. At the time, goddess of fortune foretold that the Jaya and Vijaya are going to fall down into material world. And then Lord is saying that if anyone acting like that, against my will, they will be taken out from their positions. Now, Jaya and Vijaya in their positions in the Vaikuntha, now they have fallen down into this material world for 3 lifetimes. That is Lord arranges. Syapo mayaiva nimitaha tadavet vipraha. Lord says that, oh Brahmanas, this is my arrangement that you have come to this Vaikuntha Loka and cursed this Jaya and Vijaya. Sapo mayaiva nimitaha tadavet vipraha. You are just acting as instruments in my plan. Likewise, if any devotees are making mistakes, and they will be punished just like a Jaya and Vijaya did.
Thank you, Babaji.
Thank you, Mataji. Though they are punished, but Lord will take care of him. But that does not mean that Lord would leave them, but Lord will make them to remember. Like Jaya and Vijaya are asking, Bhuya Dhagoni, even though we have committed those mistakes, Moha Bhavediha now Brajito Advada. They say that we do not want to forget at any condition of life, even though Sambhramba Samvrata Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. Sambhramba is even the envious, but we wanted to remember the Lord. So that is, they have their desire. Jaya and Vijaya, they always wanted to remember the Lord.
So why do you have a reverse? Some people go through a reverse kind of experience.
So reverse, this is called Sambhramba. This is Yam Krodha Kama Sahja Pranayadi Bhiti Vashalya Moha Guru Gaurava Sevi Bhavaihi Sanchincha Sadrusim Tanumapurete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One may be acting anger towards Krishna. Some may be friendly nature, some may be Vashalya, different rasas. The Sambhramba Sambrita Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. This is also yoga, but it is enviousness towards it. Lord says that Sambhramba Sambrita Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. Anubadha. It is related to the Lord. Yoga, connecting to the Lord. Pratyektam Nikasha make Kalena Alpiyasa Punha. You will come back to my abode again very quickly. Kalena Alpiyasa Punaha. You'll come back in short duration of time. But they are acting. This is Sambhramba Sambrita Samadhi Anubadha Yoga. There are very beautiful connecting stories for that one. But
Thank you.
high level, it is also yoga. Remembering, like comes I was remembering Krishna all the time. That is also Sambhramba Sambrita Samadhi Anubadha Yoga.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Just a continuation of the question what Mataji asked, and you have nicely explained as well. Obviously, we all know this, we live under this mode of material nature and we'll perform actions, based on our previous karmas and all. We just act in the mode of nature, basically, like the puppets. What we play around, what the modes of nature want us to do. So if we do accidentally, kill someone, so we incur the karma as well. And obviously we do get punishment as well in this life itself by going to jail or something, if we do that crime. So how that get eradicated then? Because we got the punishment and in karma is there as well. For the build up for the next life somewhere, not sure for next life or next to next life, wherever it is. So how that come into the play then?
So here Krishna says that whatever we do, when we do with the Krishna consciousness, in the Yat Karoshi, Yat Dasnasi, Yat Juhosi Dadasi, Yat Tapasvasi Kaunteya, Kurushva Madarpanam, whatever you do, just do it as an offering to me. Yat Karoshi, Yat Dasnasi. So these are all in devotees as well. They are always chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, following rules and regulations. But sometimes these ants and birds, insects, they will come in our way and they will get died. But Kapil Bhagavan says, Na atihimshe nityashaha. Na atihimshena. Do not do excessive violence unnecessarily, purposefully. If something is happening unknowingly, then those are because they are come in contact with a devotee, somewhere or other, they will be getting a chance to go into the higher level birth.
But we do kill, by knowingly as well,
Devotees knowingly they do not kill. Knowingly do not kill the living entities. This is Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. They see other living entities, they are just like himself.
No, when I say we knowingly kill, I means the living entity, not the typically human to human. But when we do any activity, let's say we do garden lawn mowing, right? We kill number of insect knowingly because we know that they will get killed, but we purposely do it anyway because we want the garden to be nice, look nice, and so on. So we do kill them purposely. For our we can call it, okay, it's Krishna's garden and so on, but still we are killing them just to make or look our garden nice.
Yes, that's right. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara idjecha. All the times and circumstances when you are doing garden as well. So even we also do garden. So at the time we chant Hare Krishna. There are so many living entities are there in the garden. So Krishna, but we are meant to do it. So in such a way we do it, carry on this activity. But everything, though we are instrument, we do not claim that I am doing it. Even at that point, this is Prakritehe karmani, gunehe karmani sarvashaha, ahankar vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. But ahankar vimudhatma, in the thinking that he is the doer, but actually material modes of the nature is the doer actually. Prakritehe karmani, nature is doing. Gunaihi karmani sarvashaha. Ahankar vimudatma kartaham iti manyate, but vimudatma. And he thinks that I am the doer. But actually, material nature is doing. We are just instruments. Even in that mode, we are not the body. We are just, this body is an instrument to the soul. It is utilizing that. But soul is not a direct doer. Material nature is the doer.
Yeah, but we'd still incur the karma anyway. If material nature is doing it, but we incur our lifetime karmas then because of these sins day to day, what we commit or how we act or how we behave.
That there, the consciousness, on what consciousness I am doing, that depends. If I am doing the same action, there is no difference. But on what consciousness I am doing that activity, that matters. If I am the Krishna consciousness, the same activity becomes spiritual. If I am not a Krishna consciousness, that same activity becomes a sinful activity. He will be punishable. Because Krishna consciousness person, he is not the doer. He is not Vimudatma. Ahankar, he is not Ahankar Vimudatma. He understands that three material modes of nature is running under Krishna's direction. He is just an instrument.
That's right. Sorry, just keep dragging based on the concepts basically. But if let's say Krishna conscious people know that this is the soul, we are not doing it, it's material nature is doing it. So non-Krishna devotees also in the same category in terms of they're not the doers. Obviously, they don't know, but still they're not the doers. But still, even the devotee. I may be wrong, but devotee also include their karmas based on the pious activity or a non-pious activity, whatever we do in this life anyway. But the non-devotees, though they are unknowingly do the activities thinking they are the doers, but in fact the modes of material nature are the doer for them as well. So knowing it or unknowingly, we both get some of the um, what I call it reactions basically of our actions.
Yes, so
That makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji. So that's one. The difference between Krishna conscious, non-Krishna consciousness is Krishna describes karamno hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanah, akarmanasya bodhavyam gahana karamano gatihi. So the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So there, further Krishna describes, of course, purport is there. I'm just going to the shlokas. Karmani akarmanaha yah pasyed, akarmani cha karmayah, sabuddhiman manusheshu sayuktaha Krishna karma kurat. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So in order to explain this, beautiful purports are there. Good insights.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. It comes from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 and shlokas 17 and 18.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice, beautiful questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
I just want to continue a little bit along the same line and just give some reflections or thoughts of what I understand. In terms of sin and pious activities, I understand we basically have two pots. When we commit a sin, something goes into that pot, and when we commit a pious activity, something goes into another pot. So we build up this bank balance of both sin and pious activities. What we have to do is somehow, in our next life, for example, through karma, reduce these pots of both pious and sinful activities. And what we're really aiming to do with Krishna consciousness in some shape or form is have both the pot of religious pious activities and sinful activities at zero. We don't want either, therefore we do not have to come back in a body to experience karma, because we haven't got any sin or pious activities in order to fulfill in our next lives, in our next lives. Is that a kind of, and to do that, my understanding is obviously we have to do things in Krishna consciousness. Now, I'm not fully Krishna conscious or an expert. I'm quite fallen, and I wanted to, for example, taking the example of Prabhuji, where he said, we were cutting the grass, and the lawnmower obviously does kill many other material living entities, or and which have a spirit soul within them. And I was just considering that, as we do it, we need to maybe do the garden as an offering to Krishna, saying, I'm cutting this lawn, and I'm cutting this for Krishna, for you, so that it's beautiful for you. Or I'm trying to work out, like, obviously chanting Hare Krishna while we're cutting the lawn, but your mind kind of might swing left and right. So I was just trying to establish the way we need to get to a pot of zero religious pious activity and sinful activity. Therefore we have zero, therefore we don't come back and we do things in Krishna consciousness in order to return to the spiritual realm. Is that kind of the gist of what I'm saying? Obviously it's not perfect, but is that
yes,
so is that along the correct lines? Hare Krishna.
Yes, so the pious and the impious. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj, this is one of the best examples to explain. So using all of his, in the fourth canto, let me just bring that one, going back to Godhead, Dhruv Maharaj, back to Godhead. He has enjoyed, so there it describes, here, yes. As long as he remained at home, Dhruv Maharaj performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the angel of all sacrifices. That is one thing. And then Dhruv Maharaj rendered devotional service unto the Lord. There were 36, Here, Dhruv Maharaj ruled over this planet for 36,000 years. He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment. And by practicing austerities, he diminished inauspicious reactions. This is the 4th canto, 12th chapter, 13th shloka. So, Tatrimshad Varsahasram Sahasakshiti Mandalam Bhogaihi Punyakshayam Kurvan Abhogaihi Asubhakshayam. So this is by he diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment, and by practicing austerities, he diminished the inauspicious reactions. Practical example, Dhruv Maharaj. You said very nicely, Prabhuji. So this is example.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, that makes it says it very much better than what I said it. Okay, so in this life, we have karma, and some people may, for example, lead a very lavish life, maybe rich or whatever. Therefore, they're enjoying the money that they have, for example, which is diminishing their pious activities of the previous life or lives. Yes. But then they may come across some negative situations where, for example, they may fall ill very much, and therefore that illness is diminishing the impious activities. But from here it says the impious activities were diminished by sacrificial ceremonies for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yes. Okay. Okay, I kind of get the gist of it. But the main thing that I wanted to kind of understand is that there is an understanding where someone does a bad deed and then they think, okay, well, I'm going to give in charity. That will counterbalance my bad deed. But in technically, it doesn't. You do a bad deed and your impious balance increases, and you do a pious deed, and your pious bucket increases, balance increases. So you still, the balance does not, it doesn't go like minus up and down, up and down. It just, they both increase, and you have to suffer those sinful and pious activities in a future life.
Yes, but here the same thing, without giving further reactions, a devotee, all of his money is spent for Krishna consciousness. Okay, that way, he is also enjoying, he is performing austerities and following rules and regulations, Ekadasi Vratas and fastings on the spiritual masters and Krishna Rama, those days, appearance days. So by those pious activities, he will nullify all kinds of inauspicious reactions. And also, these are all spiritual. Actually, they are not pious or not impious. They're all transcendental activities for the pleasure of the Lord, not for accumulating the pious or during that time. These austerities, they will diminish the inauspicious things for the pleasure of Krishna, not that we are the doers. But for pleasure of Krishna, we do anything, just like a gopis and the Radharani. For the pleasure of Krishna only, they do anything. It doesn't matter.
Sure. Okay. So, for example, we just had this Nirjala Ekadashi.
Yes.
And when you read the purport of the Nirjala Ekadashi, it kind of talks suggests that, you know, if you do it with love and devotion to the Lord, your so many your impious deeds will be eradicated or nullified, should we say?
Yes.
And I mean, the purpose of nullifying the impious activities is to because they may be a stumbling block on progression for Krishna consciousness, but then again and therefore it will give a better opportunity, or if your mature modes of nature that you are born with can better lead you to Krishna consciousness.
That is for those descriptions for entry level people, like to encourage them to fast under Nirjala Ekadasi. Of course, it has got those benefits, but advanced devotee, irrespective of those things, for the pleasure of Krishna, he transcends everything. Mamcha yo avivicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati chaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So just this is avibhicharinya, without any deviation. Vyavasayatmaka buddhi ekehe purnandhana. So it is ekeha, just only one single point of object. Yo yogo bhagadbhano nirvana atman tvayoditaha. Just bhagavad the devotional service aiming at only the lotus feet of Krishna. But not because of something else. Because Ekadasi, she is the devotee of Krishna, and she'll be, when we perform, she blesses us so that we progress in spiritual life. For the pleasure of Krishna, we do everything. Only one point. It is not that materially I would get a good opulences in the next life. That is not the mode of a devotee, because it is Krishna said we will do it. And it is Lord, the Ganges river coming from Krishna's lotus feet, I will take a bath in it and then feels that ecstasy. That advanced, these Uttamadikaris who are in the Bhava Bhakti, they absorb in that mode. This water, this is Yavai Lasad Sri Tulasi Vimishra Krishnangrirenum Abhidakam Bhunetri. Because it is coming from lotus feet of Krishna, I want to take bath, I want to touch the feel of it, this water. So likewise, always in contact with Krishna. It doesn't matter if they will do fasting or not fasting, as long as they're absorbed. But they do follow rules and regulations, but their consciousness is high level.
Hare Krishna, yes, I understand. The focus is Krishna, really. And this is why the chanting is of the holy names is more powerful than everything, from what I understand, than doing all this sacrifices and austerities. Just simply chant.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
This is Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagvatya Kinchena Sarvaihi Gunaihi Tatra Samasate Suraha Hara Bhakta Sikuto Mahudgunaha Manoratena dhavati asato bhagihi. Manoratena asati dhavato bhagihi. But devotees of Krishna, yasyasti bhaktir bhagvatya kinchana, sarvaihi gunaihi tatra samasate suraha. They will equip with all transcendental qualities. That is devotees of the Lord. They follow rules and regulations, everything, but aiming at Krishna, automatically they follow all the rules and regulations. They do not have to focus on them. Automatically they will flow.
Sure, yeah, that's very for someone who's quite neophyte and foreign, it's hard to do, but I fully appreciate where you're coming from. I mean, Srila Prabhupada is one of the perfect examples where he's always Krishna conscious, no matter what he was doing. I understand, but yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we are in the progressive path. We will come to that point and one day.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very beautiful questions and reflections. Okay, any other questions, dear devotees? No questions, no reflections. Okay, so in that case, then we can conclude our session for tonight. Thank you so much, dear devotees. It's a very beautiful reflections, though it is the hellish planets and all those things. But hearing again Krishna's another part of Krishna's pastimes is so beautiful.
Can we all say 3 loud Hari Bols to Prabhuji, please? Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Thank you so much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Pavanebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful Krishna conscious night, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.